Yeah, the big dog hunt. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Being the Big Dog with Sean Michael. I'm Joe Stazak, the big dog. There's my man Sean Michael. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you, Joe?
You
Joe,
must. I'm doing great. You
live
must
from
be
the
on
bistro there in
live
Florida.
from the bistro, right down in Boca de Vista down here in Naples at the old folks' home. And if you hear extraneous noise, it's louder than usual. It's because
Yes,
the
they're just
hearing
fans,
level.
Joe. Joe, they're just fans. They're just fans. They're just trying to get in. I mean, we're hitting all levels here.
Right, I have security roped off. They're all trying to get autographs and stuff. Um, so you must be on a cloud, man. The Phillies 31 wins, five more wins than the Braves. There's three games up on them. I think they played three or four more games than them. And not only that, but the Phillies, their run differential, second in the majors, only to the Dodgers, 70 plus 72. I think the Dodgers are plus 84. They're still killing it. Eight of the last 10. They're beating up on the Mets nice, like we like. And up there, here, they took Edwin Diaz, out of a safe situation with the Bryson Stott home run. And then they win in 10. And they killed him last night in the rain. That you were at the game, 10 to
Yeah,
5. I mean, just your thoughts on what's going on, because there has been some injuries, Trey Turner and whatnot, but they seem to just keep rolling along, and the pitching's been outstanding.
sure. Yeah. I mean, and again, everybody was back last night with besides Trey. Rio Muto had a great at bat. He ended up being taken out later in the game, and I think it was just for precautionary reasons. With them being up, having a you know
Sure. Big
10 run.
lead.
Yeah, exactly. But Suarez, he wasn't his best. He only, a little over 80 pitches, but I thought it was great that Topper, pulled him out and just like, look, it wasn't his night. He did what, did. But like Harper today, I was reading about it. A true leader came in the dugout right before he was pulled and said, "Let's win this. Let's get the W. Let's go." And they ended up having, that inning where they ended up taking the lead. Yeah, I'm ecstatic. It's the best start ever by the Phillies. This is the best. I mean, their win-loss ratio, this is the best ever in their since 1883. Which is kind of crazy to say, but it's the Phillies. I mean,
They are the losingest organization in sports
exactly.
history.
But nah, it's been exciting. I was texting you with Edwin Diaz. He's got the greatest walkout.
Is that the greatest walkout with the trumpet?
Ah, I love it. I love it.
That's phenomenal.
I love it. I mean,
Fun.
we bantered back and forth. My walkout would be "Steam" by Peter Gabriel, and I know
Good
how
song.
I would the way I would come out. Like I have it down. I've been thinking about it since I was 13, so it stuck with me.
That is the coolest. That's just, I was like,
Oh,
wow.
it is great, and it was funny because a part of me was thinking, well, at least I can at least enjoy this. It's the only Met thing that I enjoy. I can't stand the Mets, as we all
Right.
know.
Sure.
But that comeback, I mean, it was standing. It was awesome. It was great to watch. I mean, it's been great baseball. It's been fun, and it was as much. The weather sucked down there, but as I told you, Joe, pre-show, it's got that feeling like it did in 07, 08, the place to be.
Hmm.
The fashion might be a little bit different and a little bit
Tell
god
me how
awful.
the fashion has changed a little bit. Tell
Joe,
me, come on, what do you
a
got?
lot of
What do you,
sweatpants, man. A lot of sweatpants. These millennials, they don't know how to dress. Like, I'm not looking for high heels at the game, but at least show me that you might wear high heels. You know what I mean? It's
is
just,
that like a mail it in, or is that like what's in
I
fashion?
don't know. Maybe it was the weather. I'm not quite sure. I don't know. It was, yeah, it
It
was bad.
used to be the
Dudes,
place.
the guys dressing awful too. I mean, it was just, I don't know. Again, maybe that's my, my side hustle. Teach these millennials how to dress again.
These millennials, they don't even know what they don't know. They're
No,
ridiculous,
no,
embarrassing the rest of us.
no.
Uh,
I mean, there's certain etiquette. But hey, Sean and I, we had fun with them. We played our stupid name game and we switched it up a little bit and, started, hey, I like your shoes, just like to a group of people and watch them all like look down like, huh. Just being dumb. And then just kind of messing around and good fun with the ushers. I mean, it was a rainy night. But no, it was a great it just the ambiance down there as bad as the weather was. We thought it was supposed to end before 6. But it was like a misty bar in Arizona. It just kept on coming down.
sure, sure, sure.
Um, but it was great. I mean, they got down 1-0 early, and then Harper came back and pop that home run. And, it was it was a shitty rainy game. And they beat it out. Just what they have
Yeah,
always have
it's right.
found a way to win recently.
She's
Um,
great.
yeah, it's great. And I know, hey, the Mets aren't that good. I know, we hear about this, the schedule. And it's like, just again, it's BS. I'm not going to go on a rant and you questioning who I'm arguing with.
Yeah, who you arguing with?
Yeah,
Just we're winning.
exactly. But it's baseball, so would you rather have what's going on now or what happened last year and the year before and the year
Take the
before?
wins, take the wins, because
Exactly.
sometimes at the end of the season, you look back and say, "Oh, remember that game with it? Just those one or two games might have made a difference in the final standing." So
Baseball
take
is
the wins
momentum.
now.
Yes, baseball is momentum. Momentum.
Absolutely.
We've
This
seen it.
is
You go into the playoffs. Look how the Phillies beat the Braves. Momentum. They went in
momentum.
hot. So
Yep.
keep it going. Keep it going. But no, it was great. It was good to be. That was my first game of the year. Not definitely my last. We got a couple on the schedule. The parents are coming into town. We're gonna probably hit up the Cardinals Phillies game. We'll be sitting with the Cardinal wives and girlfriends, which will always be exciting.
Baseball heaven.
Yeah, exactly. So, but no, it was good to get out. It was good to,
Good.
be in that area. So yeah.
Good. Well, hopefully when I get back, I'm in Naples, South Florida. It's starting to rain now, but it's been gorgeous down here. A little hot, but I like it hot. But I heard it's still a little, it'll clear up there, but good for you gutting
Yeah.
out that game last night in Phil's. It's impressive. It's fun. It's just like you just keep compiling these wins that are going to help them down the stretch because they're going to go into it's baseball. They'll have some dips here and there, but it's nice to pile the wins up when you can and to have a 3-game lead over the Braves. And as we head into June, it's pretty good. I'll
Yeah.
take that. I didn't expect that. So
Absolutely.
I'm pretty psyched about that. Now across the street, the team that plays on Sundays usually, your team, your town, your Philadelphia Eagles schedule comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we know they're playing in like Jalalabad on the opening night and on Friday, wherever they play in that game where they're not allowed to wear green jerseys. That was great. But the other team isn't either. That's good. Good job, guys. So September and October, just 2 games at the Linc. Now they're backloaded, which is good, but of
Sure.
course it gets colder then, and you like to get off to a good start. And you and I both think there's some pitfalls. I don't usually like to play the game like let's go win because it looks good right now, but then the ball, until kickoff and the guy fumbles and 3 interceptions later, and you're like, oh, how'd they lose? You know what I mean? It happens. But I think as a team, overall, I like to project what you came up with, 11-6,
Yeah. I mean,
which is a little above the Vegas number, which is 10-5, 10.5 wins right now.
yeah, it's funny. When I first ran through it, I was like 12-5, but I mistakenly wrote an L for Atlanta. But then looking at it, I was like, no, no, I'm gonna keep it an L because the way that they ended and the way that they start slow, I think there was a lot of a lot of games last year that they probably should have lost.
Oh,
And
you think?
and I, going how their preseason is, how they don't hit, how it's just, they might switch it up this year. We'll see. We'll see what goes on. I'm starting 0-2. I have them getting their first win in New Orleans. Now, as I told you before, I could see them winning Atlanta and losing against the Saints. For some reason, every single time I watch a Saints Eagles games, they always lose. It's just the only win I remember like very fondly was
Jalen Hurts' first start. Jalen Hurts'
sack.
first. What's that?
Reggie White with the safety sack.
Remember that? You remember that? Well,
Yeah, I
Jalen Hurts'
do. I
first
do.
win was against a very good Saints team when he came in for Carson Wentz, who got yanked against the Packers. But here's the thing. Let me ask you this, because there's some other pundits that have picked the Eagles to lose that game. Now, why are we afraid? I shouldn't say we are afraid. Is it because of how the Packers ended their season and Jordan Love playing good ball and then probably should have deserved a better fate against San Francisco? They had them on the ropes, but they ended up losing that game. in Frisco, but they finished the year pretty good. Are we concerned because Jordan Love looks like he might be legit? Why are we going with the Packers there opening night?
I think this is going to be a loss because the Packers are going to be more of a prepared team than the Eagles coming out of the preseason.
Why do you think that?
Because every year coming out of the preseason, the Eagles never look solid in game one with Nick Sirianni. I mean, it's just
The Atlanta game, his first game, they were very buttoned up 3 years ago. I know we're talking about
3 years ago. 3 years. I again, prove it to me. Hey, I hope I'm wrong. But Nick
Well, they won their first 7 last year. They won their first 7 last year.
Sure. But I mean, some of those first 7 were kind of like,
True, but they won. Yeah,
but again, a W, a W, win to win.
I get what you're saying. They were very much cliffhangers and white knuckles.
Sure.
They didn't look strong. They didn't look strong.
Yeah, you're playing in Brazil. There's going to be travel. I don't know.
Who sends them to? I mean,
there's a lot of international games this year, bud.
I know. Yeah, and Jacksonville plays in England like every other week, so I shouldn't complain.
Yeah, but did you see Jacksonville got the okay for a new stadium in Jacksonville?
I did see that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, the one thing is I love the 1:00 games. There's a lot of
1:00 games this year. No prime time. There's some national games with Dallas, 425 games, but no primetime games.
Shocking that there's no Dallas primetime. Maybe week 17 could get flexed.
I could get flexed.
I could get flexed. That would be a nice flex. I love week 18 TBD. I have them winning their last 5 games.
It's not unthinkable because their schedule, again, most of them are at home. It's a weird schedule, and you and I both talked pre-show. The bye week's early. I like a late bye week to give them an extra rest when they're really banged up. It's week 5, I think. So I'm not sure about the schedule maker or how much input the Eagles have, but really 2 home games until November, like legit home games. The Eagles in Brazil is considered a home game, but I mean.
Sure. And I mean, coming out of the bye, I have them losing against the Browns. I just think the Browns are a better football
Browns
team.
are a good squad.
Yeah, very much so. But I think the major, looking at this, I think week 8 and no, is it? No, what is it? Big test for them. Week 8 against the Bengals. And then week 12 against the Rams. Week 12.
I saw that.
I think week 12.
That's on national TV. That is. Yes. But they own the Rams. I mean, come on. It's good. Maybe they'll bring Nick Foles back. He beats them every time he plays them. Carson Wentz on a ripped ACL throwing touchdown passes against those guys.
It's going to be interesting to see where the secondary is at that time.
Yep.
Going against Cooper Rush, and they got weapons out there in LA.
The kid from BYU is unbelievable. That kid was unbelievable last year. He made Cooper Kupp look like
Cooper Kupp. Did I say Cooper Rush? Jesus. I say no.
That's right. Is he still backup for Dallas? I forget what Cooper Rush is.
Cooper Rush. Jesus, Sean. Get it together.
No, it's all good. But yeah, but there are I think there were only 2 1:00 games last year. I'm looking at a bunch of them. Jaguars.
There was a lot of 425s.
What's that?
There was a lot of 425s last year.
Yep. Jaguars national televised game. The Rams, the Commanders. And then there's the Giants to be determined January 5th.
Yeah, well, technically the Brazil game is national. That's a Friday night game.
Yeah, that's true. And they got that was, I thought it was supposed to kick off the season. They got usurped by the Chiefs and Ravens the night before.
Yeah, well, now they're going to have to compete with the Methacton Warriors as well as the North. I mean, it's the NFL is going everywhere. I mean, even what is it? Netflix. Netflix is doing the Christmas games. You saw that?
I did see that.
Yeah. So
they don't give a flip about the NBA. NBA owns its own Christmas Day they're like, and and
how I feel. I loved Christmas on the NBA. I'm a fool.
I love anytime the NFL plays, I'm good.
Yeah, and well, yeah. I mean, I love basketball on Christmas Day. It was great. I mean, you got your 12, you got
No, it
your,
is cool. It is cool.
you know, but it is what
They're
it is.
at, they're at Cincinnati. They're at Tampa Bay, which isn't an easy game.
Mhm.
At the Rams, at the Ravens, December 1st. I mean,
I had them losing that game.
well, I would too. I mean, I saw this, I sent you that thing that said that, and they only calculated by the previous year's record, but the Eagles had one of the toughest schedules in the league last year. This year, they're not at the bottom. They're in somewhere between the middle and the bottom of one of the easier schedules, but they play Pittsburgh. Um, okay. I think the Steelers are going to be decent.
Yeah,
Ravens,
I think so too. But
Bengals.
I mean, week 15, where's their quarterback situation going to be? So I
That's a
don't
good
like,
question.
so I think that's where I give them the W. I think
Oh, they should win that game, but I'm
they
saying I
do.
don't think it's going to be easy.
No,
Well, of
no
course,
game's easy
none
in
of
the
them are
NFL.
easy. That's true. I like the Giants finishing the season with the Giants, even though they got whooped last year.
Yeah, but
Because they just collapsed last year. The Commanders, with their new quarterback, um, they have the Panthers with, they won what, 2 games last year.
yep.
So I don't know. I don't. They play the NFC South. Okay, fine. Notoriously not a very strong, Falcons, Saints. Those aren't easy games. I'm sorry. Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback than Desmond Ritter. Um, the Saints. Who's the Saints? Oh, the Saints quarterback is a kid from what's his name, from the Raiders a couple years ago. Derek
Derek
Carr.
Carr.
Derek Carr. They play some good quarterback. I always look at the quarterbacks. They got Kirk Cousins. They have no, that's preseason, so JJ McCarthy doesn't count. Jordan Love, um, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. I don't know what the Giants are throwing out there. I mean, you can throw out, you know, Daniel Jones all you want. I'm fine with that. In fact, I would rather see him than who was their backup last year, the kid from Virginia Tech that came in and made Christmas Day interesting.
Oh
Uh,
my gosh, the Italian stallion.
no, not even him. The other kid that came in, not
Oh, oh,
Tommy
oh, oh.
Cutlets.
Yeah.
The brother, the brother from Virginia Tech. I can't remember his name. Decent quarterback. So okay,
Yeah,
that'll be
I mean,
interesting.
I have them only losing one game in the NFC East, one game against the Cowboys on November 10th.
Cowboys, yeah, that's
They
about right.
typically split with them.
That's all it should be. Although you never know, Washington always gives them a problem here or there. The
Totally.
year the year they went to the Super Bowl, that was their first loss at home with the 4 turnovers, and they can be difficult, but
Yeah,
yeah, I think about 11. I think the team should win 11 games, which
I
they
think so
did last
too.
year, but last year was a disaster, right? Like, how do you win 11 games and then have a disastrous
I mean,
year?
I think it's going to be meaningful football until all the way up to week 18. I don't think
Which
they're
is
going to run
great.
away.
Which That's why I
Yeah,
love the
I mean,
NFL. Every game means a ton,
sure,
a
sure. And
ton.
I think, I heard on the radio, is this a rebuilding year or is this a Super Bowl or bust year? And there was a lot of people saying, more leaning towards like rebuilding. And
Well, they have to rebuild the defense. The offense just seems to be loaded,
sure,
loaded.
yeah. I
But
mean,
I think the defense was the weak. Well, you can fault both sides of the football, but the defense just collapsed down the stretch. Yeah,
yeah,
that after the San Francisco game, the 9 of 10 drives in a row ended up in touchdown. It was awful. So they couldn't stop anybody.
yeah.
The
I mean,
Giants killed
they
them.
concentrated on the defense in the draft, but again, there's a lot of young players now on that defense. So
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, I like what they did, but they're rookies. How often do you see rookies make a huge impact? Very infrequent. Not in
right,
the first
exactly.
year.
And I mean, that's like you're thinking Cooper DeJean, Quaylen Michael. Like out of nowhere. Okay, these guys are right away gonna. I surely hope so. I mean, again, it's gonna be, here we go again. Howie being the man of the year, every other year. So
Every other year. That's right. He
you know,
does.
every other year he wins that award. I wonder how he puts those trophies in his office.
Right?
So,
Uh,
yeah, a good schedule. I mean, from a travel standpoint, there's nowhere. I mean, I'd go to LA, just because it's LA, but I'm not going to Cincinnati, unless I have something going on with Cintas because we're based out of there. So,
Oh,
I
there
mean,
you go.
if I got
Right.
something going on the weekend before, maybe I'll go to that game. But Tampa Bay, I mean, it'd be cool to kind of like 3 hours away from my parents, but I don't want to sit in traffic for 3 hours just to go to that game and then 3 hours after.
Yeah.
New Orleans, I have no desire to go to New Orleans. That's just me. Have you ever been?
I have been. I was there for the Final Four in the Chris Webber timeout game.
Oh,
I was there. I was
I
there.
love
I
that game.
was devastated. Absolutely devastated.
Well, yeah. Then he devastated our lives years later on
Yeah,
the
with the
six.
Sixers, right? Oh, geez.
All the hype. Oh my God, Weber. He was toast.
He was done. Very nice guy, but he was done.
I mean,
He was
no
so
bad
done when he got
left.
here.
The
So done.
legs. He left the legs in Sacramento.
Right? Got a lot of money though.
Oh, he sure did. He sure did.
All right, good transition to the NBA because the Nova Knicks, they get their doors blown off in game 4 in Indiana by 31. And everyone, I know how people are so overreactionary. Well, they're beat up, and Brunson has the ankle, and they're tired, and OG, Abdenabi, whatever his name is, just has the hamstring, and they're shorthanded. And then they come back, and they drop a 30-point win on the Pacers. Brunson has 44 points, and DiVincenzo went cold from 3 and had 8 points, and Brunson just took over. I mean, he just took over.
Yeah.
Superstar.
I mean, it's like watching the 2001 Sixers.
It really is.
I mean, do you think they have a chance against the Celtics?
Do they have a chance? Yes, because the Celtics, I've seen the Celtics are not always consistent. They always hiccup at like the wrong times and usually extends the series. It makes it more difficult. Yeah, they have gotten out of those situations too, but it's cost them a couple times in the last 3 years. But Celtics probably should win the series, but I wouldn't be stunned. I mean, I've seen it all. Look, Minnesota has a 2-game-to-none lead over the champs, and everyone's writing them off. They're not losing another game. The Nuggets in that series. I mean, they're just. And if you ever doubted the MVP, the 3-time MVP, and the Joker, he's the real deal.
Oh, for sure.
Oh my
Absolutely.
God, he's the real deal. But do they have a chance? They have a chance. Again, they're not deep. They don't have a lot of guys coming off the bench. And if if it goes to game 7, it gives them a couple extra days. And then the Celtics series, remember they have to win, starts the following week. But if they win game 6, Celtics series starts on Sunday. So that doesn't give, I wouldn't screw around, when you have a chance to close them out in game 6. I think it's going to go game to 7, but
I think so too.
the hamstrings are tricky. You come back too soon and you're done for another month or 2.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because I mean, I like watching those guys play. I mean, a lot of role players, a lot of offensive rebound. That's hustle. That's determination. And then you got the superstar in Brunson. It's just.
I mean, I find it very. I know there's this hatred, New York, Boston. I get it. I mean, I grew up with it.
I love the Knicks. I'm sorry. I don't know. I love
I mean, this team, I love them. I mean, that the team in the '90s, I couldn't stand them. Like I just
couldn't either with John Starks and
I hated them. But this team, and yeah, maybe it has a little bit to do with Nova. I mean, also when the Knicks were good with Carmelo Anthony, I was living in New York City at the time, and yes, granted, I had I got to meet Carmelo with where I worked, and was able to help him out with his clothing and all that kind of good stuff, and
which is
might have
cool.
gotten kissed by his wife Lala on my cheek, whatever.
He's hot.
Yeah, but it was they were fun. It was exciting. I mean, then basketball is so much better when New York is in it.
It is, yeah.
It really is. As much as I hated those teams in the '90s, I mean that was basketball in the '90s. It was always the Bulls, Rockets. The Knicks. It all went together. So it's been exciting. It's been fun. The other night I thought, yeah, this is it. They're too banged up, but they're resilient, man. They came right back, roaring right back.
Yeah.
I think it would be in their best interest to knock them out, the Pacers, going back to Indiana. I don't think it's going to happen. I definitely think this is going to go to a game 7.
I
But
think it
coming
goes
back
six.
to the Garden, yeah, it's. I mean, this is what the NBA wants: New York Knicks, Boston Celtics. Woo.
How tight, if it's a tight game in game 7, because the Knicks have a history of blowing things, so they haven't won forever. Um, how tight's the Garden if it's like an 82 game, fourth quarter? Or do you have confidence that like, I mean, Brunson's look,
Oh,
he won
I don't.
two national championships. Nothing seems to phase him. They
I think it's been fun to watch how all the old players are coming back on the sidelines and just
Mhm.
there is a different vibe down at the Garden than we've seen in the last recent years. They're totally behind this team. They love this team. I think coming down the stretch, like they're gonna be, I hate the comparison. We're better fans than New York, or we're better fans than this. And, I hate going through that whole entire thing because in a moment, anybody could be better. Anybody could be louder. I mean, it really just kind of deals with, it's the team that drives that. So, um, I think a tight game, they're going to stick with them the whole entire time. Um, and they're going to be, they're going to be that sixth man off the bench with, helping them out. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. I hope they pull it off on game 6. I don't think they will,
I
but
don't think they will. I'm looking
yeah,
forward to game 7.
yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Ghosts of Reggie Miller and Tyrese Maxey and
I know, right? So,
I threw that
yeah,
in.
absolutely. But
Good,
it's,
good stuff. Good stuff, man. No, it should be interesting because I know we don't talk a lot of hockey here, but that other team that plays in the same building had a 3 games to none lead over the the Carolina Hurricanes. The next thing you know, they're in a game 6 tonight in Carolina. Carolina wins. That's going back to 7. You might see a lot of my buddies from Boston, and before they wanted to stay alive the other night, he's like, the only solace in this postseason would be if, in 3 days, this was the other day, that A Street is like littered with, people wearing Messier, Leach, and Richter jerseys, walking home silent and going, "What just happened? We just lost 4 in a row." Because they hate all the Boston people hate New York too.
oh
So
yeah, yeah. And it just that the hockey playoffs just irritates me big with I mean, it's just, I know the Flyers are on the rise. I miss playoff hocky.
do I miss playoff hockey around here? We had it too. It
We
was it was, a,
did.
it was almost a
We
lock.
did. Yeah,
What
but
just happened? Talk about a collapse.
yeah, that's a
Yeah,
collapse.
that did go well, but you know, we'll see. Good stuff. We got a wrap, but you got any, it's
I
crazy.
got a couple questions for you, just some random ones. Sean and I last night, as we were drinking Yinglings in the car as the rain fell, we both wanted to know, Joe, do you think penguins have knees?
They have knees. uh, I'm gonna say no.
No.
I've never looked really that closely,
Yeah,
but
I don't think they do. I mean,
they kind
they
of
kind of are.
waddle. And
You know,
did you ever see that one thing with Morgan Freeman and the Penguins and
the
the
March of
play?
the Penguins, I think is
The
what it's
Penguins
called.
was
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, I did. My kids and I watched it.
I don't think they mentioned their knees though, but
There's a National Geographic video that just came out a little bit ago showing the penguins doing like this like belly flop off of like this massive fall off of
that's
an
great.
iceberg. It's
That's
crazy. I mean, just the amount of fat on their belly. I mean, insane. In a zombie apocalypse, who do you think would last the longest, myself or you?
define last.
Not
Without
turn into
getting
a
eaten,
zombie. Not get
turning
eaten by
into
a
a
zombie,
zombie.
Joe. I mean, I gotta spell it out for you.
I'm gonna bet on me. Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
bet on me. Yeah, yeah. I'm a confident guy. I think
Yeah, I guess me and you.
I think I can maybe outrun you. Now maybe I can't.
I don't know, man.
It may be
I'm
you.
still got speed like a gazelle.
I
My knees
lost
hurt.
a few steps. I lost a few steps.
Um, and then um, where would you land if you could be a fly on the wall?
Where would I land? Well, I gotta keep this clean, eh? I would, yeah, you know where I would land? There are other places maybe, but for our purposes here, I'd land in those NFL Rules Committee meetings in the off season. I want to know who comes up with the dumbest ideas to change things that are pretty simple and make them difficult and make these rules insidiously stupid and make them difficult. I want to know who does that and who's to fault and just, yeah.
I'm going NFL. I'm going NFL too, but my weird ADD head, literally my route that I was going to go until this just popped in my head was I would want to be a fly on the wall during the draft day with Howie Roseman. I want to be in that draft room. I want to see what goes on. I want to hear everything. But God damn it, randomly this has popped in my head, and I think I got to switch it. I need to go. I wish I was a fly on the wall to know exactly what the hell happened last year.
That's a good one. But is there a room that will tell you that, or is it just something that, like, because no one's come out with a story. There's like not a Joe Santoliquito, remember with the thing on the whole Wentz thing that took them a couple months and a lot of different reporters. I still want to know what happened.
Same.
We haven't got answers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just no, I'm sorry. You don't go from almost winning a Super Bowl to 10-1. I know it was a precarious 10-1, but 10-1's 10-1. Not only from that to lose 6 of your last 7 games to a couple Cardinals at home blowing a 23-7 lead, Giants the last game of the season, they were getting blown out by 21.5. They almost lost on Christmas Day to the Giants. They were horrendous. What happened?
It'd be interesting. I mean, I'm kind of glad.
You would think if it was really something like some cancers or some players not doing this, or there was a rebellion, that stuff leaks.
Yeah,
that stuff, especially when
you
guys.
Think it was a Roger Dorn situation. Slept with the wife.
You mean like Dominic Hasek type thing? Dominic Hasek and Teddy Nolan, or
do you remember the wild thing? Do you remember the rumors with the Flyers for the years ago when they had that collapse where apparently
Lindros and Brendamore's wife?
Yes.
Yes, that was a big rumor at the time. Yeah, but
totally.
Same what happened with Ted Nolan up, and he was coach of the year. Next thing you know, he gets whacked, and now he's like coaching in the Indigenous League, like it's somewhere in like Nome, Alaska, or some shit.
Sure. So I mean,
and Dominic Hasek wasn't talking about it, and there's rumors that he was with Hasek's wife, and I don't know how that starts or what, And then of course there was the Marty Brodeur thing. Speaking of these goaltenders, always seem to get bird dogged by their teammate. Anyway,
yeah, I have a fun story about Lundqvist that we'll have to talk about.
Henrik the Great.
Oh yeah. Him and I love Henrik. We were throwing back whiskey together. Brad Richards, myself, and him.
Brad Richards.
Yeah.
Where'd you hang out with Brad Richards?
So it was Carmelo Anthony's night. During when I worked at Rag & Bone, it was a fashion week party, and Carmelo Anthony was there, and he invited a bunch of guests, and Brad Richards was one of them. Lundqvist was supposed to be there, but he didn't show up. But he ended up coming to the after party, and Brad was like, "Do you guys want to hang out with us?" We're like, "Yeah, sure." My buddy Chris is a huge Brad Richards fan, so we ended up hanging out. We ended up drinking whiskey the whole entire night. I mean, it was, there was a point where I'll just tell you, I don't care. I don't give a shit. I kicked up my whiskey because I had too much on my hand, and Richards turned around and he goes, "Hey, I want you to meet Lundqvist. This is Hendrik." And I go, "Hey, nice to meet you."
Quite an impressive.
Hey, he didn't know. He didn't know. Now he does.
The podcast. Way to represent.
Yeah, it was, and Briskalov was just on the Flyers.
Ilya Briskalov was there?
No, he wasn't there, but he just joined the Flyers.
Okay.
And and we were talking about like how weird goalies are, and Brad turned in and he goes, "Well, look at our goalie. Look how prim and proper he's dressed." And I mean, he was dressed. He had this
Oh,
nice bow tie.
he walks out. He
Oh,
would look like he walks out of a magazine every time you see him. He's a great
absolutely.
looking guy. He's to the nines.
Absolutely, absolutely. And he was like, he was funny. He was very standoffish. He goes, "You think goaltenders are weird?" He's like, "Well, I think Philadelphia fans are weird too." And my buddy Chris goes, "Don't you dare tell him you just puked in your hand."
Lovely,
I know. It was fun.
lovely.
Hell of a time. Hell of
That's
a
good.
time. New York City, baby.
New
Go
York
Knicks.
City, it's where it happens, man. Start spreading the news. Didn't we do a podcast? Start spreading the news.
Yeah, I mean, maybe yeah, you know.
Great
So
stuff. He's good on the air too. He's doing the thing with the yeah. I still don't know. I think PK Subban could probably use some sartorial advice from you and me. Maybe wear some funky stuff. He was a phenomenal defenseman with one of the hardest shots I've ever seen. It. Well, I don't know why he retired so early. Just a killer, a
yeah.
Bruins killer when he was with the Canadians. Went to Nashville. I would have loved to have seen him here. Anyway, he's good on the air. That whole crew is very good on the air.
Going off the wagon here.
And we totally did. Hey, good stuff, man. We got
Hey, you too, bud.
good, great seeing. I'll see you up north when I get back. I'm back Tuesday night, so we'll strategically plan like we did this
Yeah,
today.
let's plan
Until after the schedule came out, but
absolutely. And let's plan tonight. It's let's go see the Knicks Celtics game. Whether I come over to
that'll be
Christmas
fun.
plan. What's that? Yeah,
I
Christmas plan.
got an email from the homeowners association. Are you gonna take the garden down over your door anytime soon?
Oh, did you?
Really? Last year it was up year round. Now you're giving me crap. I took down the tree anyway.
So you got new neighbors. Somebody just moved in.
I live next to the president. He's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Nice guy, but pain in the ass. Hey, good stuff. So where can we?
I hope he's a good listener.
Yeah.
So you can see me at my Instagram Philly Shiz. My Twitter handle is at ShawneeML. I also put this up on my Facebook for my family and my friends, as well as LinkedIn for all my former business partners.
I'm gonna start doing this on LinkedIn as well. You can follow me on Twitter at JoeStazek975. This podcast. Oh boy, it's on Apple and Spotify and Amazon Marketplace and Deezer. Did I get that right? Deezer, whatever that is.
Yo, episode 10. 10 episodes. Can you believe that?
How about that, huh? That's all right.
Awesome.
Way to go, man. Good stuff.
All right, buddy. Love
you. And we appreciate you watching it as always, folks. If you like it, subscribe, please, and 5-star rating wouldn't hurt at all. Sean, great stuff as usual. We'll catch you next week, bro.
Sounds good. Have fun,
Appreciate
Joe.
it. Thanks, buddy. You too. Appreciate it, folks. God bless, and we'll catch you next time.